All right, so the day has finally come to where I can get rid of this old ass stereo that's in here and stop using this Bluetooth receiver I have right there, because it sounds like absolute garbage. Now the unit that we're replacing it with is an Extrons unit from Amazon. Bought it for about 300 bucks in total, and it does look very nice. And it's a single DIN, so it works perfect for this car. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over to the other side. I'm actually going to move my car to my garage so I can grab some tools. Going to jump onto the other side, remove these two panels, and then there should be two Phillips screws behind here that I can take out. And should be able to pull this out, pull the climate control out, and then pull this little storage area out. All right, so now I'm on the passenger side. So the first thing I want to do is pull this e-brake, and I'm actually going to shift this into neutral. So I'm going to start working on getting this panel off. And then I'm gonna take this panel off as well, and then start working on those screws to take this guy out. You always want to be somewhat gentle with these because the plastic clips behind here could snap, and you would not want to do that, otherwise you'll have to replace them with new ones. So, and then this one should actually come off with my fingers. Yep, just that easy, just like that. And then it'll pop off on the other side eventually. There we go. And I didn't break it, so that's good. So now I'm just going to take out these Phillips screws on each side, and then this radio should pop right out. Both the screws out. So now we can just pull on this a little bit. Try not to break anything. There we go. Pops right out just like that. And now we can get to all our cables back there. All right, so I already unplugged this little cable right here. It's just a push pin. You push it, and then this one should be like one of those little fold down clips. Let's see if I can figure it out real quick. All right, so what you got to do with these ones is you have to just pull up on these tabs, and they will lift up for you a little bit, and they should be able to get the cable off. I can't do this with one hand, so I'm just going to do it real quick. All right, so it was a little bit of a struggle to get off, but I finally did get it off. Pretty big connector there. You can just pull this tab up, move it back a little bit. The tab will come up a little bit more, at least in my case it did, and then it should just pull right off. So now that we got that done, I'm going to work on, actually, this should be able to just pull out. There we go. Just like so. That's the climate control vents. And then you just unplug all of these, and then you should be good to go. All right, so now that everything's disconnected from the climate control and the radio, we have to remove this bracket for this new unit to be able to fit in here. So it's just a couple more Phillips screws, and then we can take that out, and then we can remove this little panel down here. Once you get all four of those screws out, what we're going to do is we're going to take out this climate vent and move it out of the way. Once it unclips from wherever it's clipped into, might have to pull on it a little bit. Just be careful so you don't break it. So yeah, you just kind of got to be a little bit rough with it. I just pulled up really hard, and it ended up not snapping, but ended up popping off. And then we'll just go ahead and try to put this up here as best as possible. And then once you have it sitting up there, you can pretty much just pull this out, let all the cables go through it, and then you got your little bracket here, and you can just pretty much throw this away unless you want to keep it in case you sell the car or something, have all the original pieces. Now moving on to getting this panel out, pretty much you're just going to do the same thing you did with the climate vent. You're just going to go from the back and push out, and it'll eventually pop out of place. And then once you got it all out, got it on the floor down there, don't mind the McDonald's cup, I just found that, can pretty much just throw these climate vents back in. So now the next step is wiring everything together. So luckily, everything that's pretty much important for like power and everything is just an adapter. And then everything else for like the CAN bus and everything, if you have stuff hooked up to that, you do have to wire that. And then I can't really tell what that one's for just yet, but I guess we'll figure it out. And just before we get all this wired up, I'm going to push all of these climate control wires down to where we're going to be placing the climate controls from now on. Now I'm going to start getting this hooked up. I'm going to connect this to the old style connector, and then this side is going to go into that new screen. You just slide it on and then slide this clamp back down, and that clamps into place very nicely. So then we got our CAN bus and everything else here. This looks complicated, but I mean, it kind of is if you have a bunch of stuff wired up that you want to wire into this, but I don't have all the things, so I'm just going to plug it in and make sure that works real quick. Okay, for some reason I was mistaking that this went into the back of the handy. It actually doesn't. It's this little black cable right here with all the wires coming out of it, and it actually plugs into there. So I'm going to make sure I have everything connected, and then we're going to try to power this thing up. All right, I'm going to go ahead and turn the key forward and hope nothing blows up. Let's see if this thing boots. Yes, sir. Now, the first boot is going to always take a while because it's the first boot. It just needs to load everything up. Always first boot, it'll be slow. And then any other boot, it'll be super fast. All right, so that's our UI. So that's pretty cool, actually. I kind of like it. We got Bluetooth, which I'll connect later to show you guys music and everything. Got a phone dialer. Stuff, whole bunch of stuff. This is really cool, actually. So now that's in, I'm going to go ahead and plug in anything else that needs to be plugged in, and then should be able to be good and put it back in to the slot. All right, so I do want to show you guys a couple little neat things that this comes with. So this actually comes with USB connections, which is pretty sweet. So if you have like a dash cam or something you want to route behind the glove box and then into here, I mean, hey, that's pretty cool, actually. Got a backup cable wire, so you can wire this into your backup camera or something, I would assume, probably. And then a video signal. Got another USB, comes with 2 of them. I am going to be using these in the future when I do get the air conditioning relocation kit. It comes with 2 USBs built in and then a cigarette lighter. Got some more video ports, something for an antenna, I believe. And then this mess of wiring, I'm not sure what this is used for. So now what I can pretty much do at this point is get all these wires kind of tucked up in there, get this into place, and then I want to test it out real quick and see how it sounds. Oh my gosh, so this is so cool. So I do have an iPhone and I'm using Apple CarPlay right now. This is so cool to see an E46, I can't even lie. I'm so excited that I have this in the car. And man, everything works. I mean, Apple Music. Yeah, so everything, it's a little sluggish. It's a little slow, but I mean, it does get the job done, really. It's super cool. I love it. All right, so yes, I have this connected, and then I'm going to start getting the climate controls connected back up again, and we're just going to snap it into place down there where the old cubby was and put everything together and see how it looks. All right, so once you get everything back into your HVAC control, you can just kind of pop it into where the cubby was without breaking anything, of course. Now, one thing I'm realizing, though, is that the screen isn't working yet, so I'm going to have to figure that out. So I got the screen working. I tested off camera. So now we just have to get this pushed into place, and then we'll be good from there. All right, so it's kind of in place. And then I can start working on getting this all situated. And once I do that, it should look pretty good. All right, so now I got everything buttoned up, all nice and tight. We can go ahead and start throwing these trim pieces back on. As simple as just putting the clips in the right place and eventually snapping it into place just like that. And then we can get our second piece, get it all lined up, and we can finish it by just giving it a couple pushes. And just like that, everything is back together, and this looks amazing. I am loving the screen right now. I've been using this for about a day now, and I just want to show you a couple of really cool features that this thing has. So first thing I want to show you guys, if we go back to this main menu here, got our little icons on the side, but these two right here is the stuff I want to show you. So in the settings here, we can actually go into car infotainment, and we can control a bunch of different things. First thing is the sound. and this actually brings you into a really cool menu. If you're into audio tuning and whatever, there's a whole equalizer with everything, like literally everything in here. We have our loudness, which I actually turned on, and it makes the audio quality significantly better. I recommend if you get one of these, you turn it on immediately. Otherwise, your music kind of sounds dull and quiet. Next thing we have a smart bass. Pretty much what this does is if you turn this all the way up, you just get more sub bass out of your, if you have OEM speakers or different speakers in your car, it actually makes a pretty huge difference. So I do recommend just playing around with all the settings. Does make a huge difference to your music. Also have balance, and this actually does work too on this E46, which is kind of shocking. Pretty much you can just choose what side you want your music to go to. If you want it to come more forward, maybe have it to the back more, or to each side. I don't know why you would want any of those, but I mean, hey, it's pretty cool if you do want it. Also have a filter, which I have no idea what this does, but if I turned that up once and it made it sound more loud up front, and then if you turn that down, it makes it sound quieter in the rear. I'm not really sure what it is for, but it's still pretty cool. And then delay, you can choose which speakers have a delay on them, which I don't know what it means at all, but it does a thing and it works. Now, another thing that's pretty cool on this, if you're keeping your stock steering wheel, or if you have a steering wheel with all these controls on them, can go into the settings and change what kind of controls do what. So I'm not sure exactly how it works because I don't actually have my steering wheel hooked up because I'm switching this out for a racing wheel, but you do have that option to control these or change them to whatever you want if you do want steering wheel control. So the next thing I want to show you is the display settings. First couple options you have here is the backlight settings, and you have daytime and night light. So pretty much you can just change it. It changes the brightness to what time of the day it is, and depending on if you have your lights on or not. So I'll turn them off real quick, and then it'll brighten up, and then turn them on, it'll go down a little bit of brightness. And then it also has auto mode, so it'll switch off whenever you turn the lights on. And another thing I find pretty cool is that you can change your key colors, which I'm just gonna keep them red because I like the fact that it matches the whole dashboard and everything, but you can change them if you do want to. So in the common settings here, we actually do have quite a couple of settings in here. So you do have a sleep mode, assistive touch, and then a reverse volume suppression. So what that does is when you put your car in reverse, it'll actually know that, and it will quiet down your audio, so that way you can focus more while you're reversing, I guess. You also do have a couple options for boot logos, and I can't remember the password for this. I don't know why it has a password, but it does. If you look it up on Extrons, or actually they'll have it in the manual there, it'll actually tell you the password for it. I just don't know it right now. And then you have reset all settings, which I'm not doing right now. You also do have some video settings like disable video in motion, reversing assistant line, reverse warning line, and air conditioner. I don't know what air conditioner means, but it probably does something cool, I guess. And then if we come back out and then go into the app drawer, we actually do have quite a bit of apps. So this is if you're using the Android side of it, which I'm not. I'm using Apple CarPlay, so I'm not using any of this right here. But you have navigation, radio, video, music, Bluetooth, all this stuff. It's a whole bunch of really cool stuff. And you can actually go on Chrome, YouTube, Google, a whole bunch of things. It's actually really cool for a touchscreen display in an old car like this. I mean, can't really complain with it. So overall, it does make your E46 interior pretty modernized and does add a pretty cool bit of features to your car as well. I would recommend getting one of these as long as you have the budget for it. It was about $300, and then there is some more high-end ones that won't lag as much. They have like more RAM and more storage and everything. But honestly, for $300, this is pretty good. And you can also stream to your screen as well.